Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rear Admiral Timothy White, your Master of Ceremonies for today's events. Welcome to today's ceremony marking the change of command and elevation of the United States Cyber Command and the change of directorship for the National Security Agency Central Security Service. We are extremely honored to have officiating today's ceremonies the Deputy Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Patrick M. Shanahan, and the Director of National Intelligence, the Honorable Daniel R. Coates. We are also honored to have with us a number of honored, distinguished guests. Please hold your applause as they are introduced, and if I may, when your name is announced, please stand briefly. The Honorable Ben Cardin, Senator from Maryland. The Honorable Robert Joyce, Special Assistant to the President and Cybersecurity Coordinator, National Security Staff. The Honorable John Sarbanes, Representative from Maryland. General Joseph Dunford, Jr., United States Marine Corps, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Mrs. Dunford. The Honorable Joseph Kernan, Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. The Honorable David Glaway, Undersecretary of Homeland Security for Intelligence and Analysis. General John Hyten, United States Air Force, the Commander, United States Strategic Command, and Mrs. Hyten. General Mark Milley, United States Army, the Chief of Staff, United States Army. Admiral Paul Zunkoft, United States Coast Guard, the Commandant, United States Coast Guard. Admiral William Moran, United States Navy, the Vice Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral William Studeman, United States Navy, retired, former Director, National Security Agency. Ms. Essie Miller, Acting Chief, Information Officer, Department of Defense. The Honorable Kenneth Rapuano, Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense and Global Security. Mr. James Baker, Director, Office of Net Assessment, Department of Defense. Mr. Martin Loken, Minister for Political Affairs, Canadian Embassy. Command Sergeant Major John Troxell, United States Army, Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and Mrs. Troxell. Mr. John Wobensmith, Secretary of the State of Maryland. Lieutenant General Vincent Stewart, United States Marine Corps, Deputy Commander, United States Cyber Command, and Mrs. Stewart. Mr. George Barnes, Deputy Director, National Security Agency, and Mrs. Barnes. Lieutenant General Robert Schmidl, Jr., United States Marine Corps retired, former Deputy Commander, United States Cyber Command. And Mr. Chris Inglis, former Deputy Director, National Security Agency. We offer a special welcome to everyone who has joined us to witness today's ceremony. Musical support for today's ceremony is provided by the United States Army Field Band, led by Colonel Jim Keane, United States Army. Today's ceremony is rooted in military tradition dating back to the 18th century under the reign of King Frederick the Great of Prussia. During this time, organizational flags were developed with colors and symbols unique to each unit. When the change of command took place, the outgoing commander passed the flag to the individual assuming command. This was done in front of the unit so that all could witness their new leader assuming this leadership position. Whoever controlled the flag also controlled the troops and their allegiance. This symbolic tradition has continued throughout military history. Ladies and gentlemen, in keeping with the rich tradition of the United States Navy, the official party will pass through a group of sailors known as side boys. Side boys were posted in 2 rows on the quarterdeck when a visiting dignitary boarded or disembarked a ship. Today, they are only used in ceremonies. Bosun, post the side boys.
Aye, aye, sir. Side boys, attention. Post.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of honors, the national anthem, and the invocation. When honors are rendered and during the national anthem, it is customary for military members to stand at attention and for civilian guests to stand and remove any headgear. For today's ceremony, the outgoing and incoming commanders have deferred receiving musical honors to the Director of National Intelligence and the Deputy Secretary of Defense. General, United States Army, arriving. United States Cyber Command, National Security Agency, Central Security Service, arriving. National Intelligence, arriving. Defense, arriving. Bosun, retire the side boys.
Aye, aye, sir. Side boys, one pace to the rear. Mark. Left or right. Face. Forward. Mark. Forward. Mark.
Present the colors.
Forward, on. Forward, march. Group, halt. Present, out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant First Class Randall White of the United States Army Field Band will now sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud
Order, on. Colors turn, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Thomas Weber, United States Navy, United States Cyber Command Chaplain, will now give the invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we acknowledge that our lives are never hidden from you. Even as this room will provide insights into what our national heroes are doing to keep at bay those enemies seeking our destruction, you still have ultimate knowledge and insight in knowing our thoughts and intentions prior to our words and deeds. The leaders assembled here today know well the power that is associated with knowledge. As Admiral Rogers passes the mantle of responsibility to General Nakasone in leading United States Cyber Command, National Security Agency, and the Central Security Service, we pray that your anointing would guard his heart and mind. Human history has recorded how leaders are your agents in acting justly, loving mercy, and walking humbly before you. Our prayer is that through U.S. Cybercom's elevation as the newest unified combatant command, all will know us as a friend to unite with or as a fearless opponent whose readiness is steadfast and determination is unmatched. As this command and support agency stands in the gap to defend our nation, grant all associated with us diligence, faithfulness, and teachability. In your eternal name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Sergeant First Class White and Chaplain Weber. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Flowers are now being presented to Mrs. Rogers and Mrs. Nakasone. Mrs. Rogers is receiving a bouquet of red roses. Mrs. Rogers' roses are in full bloom, symbolizing the beauty and fulfillment of her time with us. Mrs. Nakasone is receiving a bouquet of yellow roses. Yellow is the color of a new beginning and symbolizes her arrival to United States Cyber Command, National Security Agency, Central Security Service. Mrs. Nakasone's roses signify her relationship with our soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, civilians, and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Ben Cardin, Senator from Maryland.
Secretary Shannon, Director Coates, Admiral Rogers, General Nakasone, it's really a pleasure for me to be here to represent the Congress of the United States to acknowledge this extraordinary moment. I'm pleased to be here with my colleague, Congressman Sarbanes, and representing the American people on this historic moment. In just a few weeks, where we are right now is going to be the cyber epicenter of the world. What's going to happen here is going to be remarkable, incredible, and will help keep not only America safer, but our world safer. And first and foremost, I want to thank the men and women who are devoting their life to making America safe, that wear the uniform of our nation and serve in the security agencies that make this possible. Thank you for your incredible service. I'm also here to brag a little bit about Maryland, because Cyber Command is located in Maryland. NSA is in Maryland. We have the expertise here. We are proud of what is happening throughout our state. I serve on the Naval Academy Board of Visitors. We're very proud of the cyber facility being constructed there, the state-of-the-art in the world. We're proud of the work done at NIST, the Cyber Excellence Center, with the partnership with Montgomery County. We're proud of the University of Maryland and its commitment to cyber excellence. We're proud of what's done at the Applied Physics Lab at Hopkins. In other words, we're proud of Maryland. And I'm the senator from Maryland, so I'm going to brag a little bit about our state. But General Nakasone, I just want you to know that Team Maryland, indeed the entire nation, is behind you and supports your mission that will take place in this incredible facility. And to Admiral Rogers, thank you for a job very, very well done. You have devoted your life to public service, and we salute you for a job well done. Congratulations to all.
Thank you, Senator Cardin. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Robert Joyce, Special Assistant to the President and Cybersecurity Coordinator, National Security Staff.
Thank you, Admiral White. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, growing up as part of the NSA and Cybercom family, to be able to come out and represent the White House at such an occasion is just an honor. And I'd really like to reinforce the way the nation has recognized that cyberspace is now an element key and vital to our security as well as our prosperity. And for those reasons, we've made the investment in things like the facilities here, the people that are coming to both the military in Cyber Command and NSA and the civilians who serve at NSA. And the continued focus on that importance was shown as the President elevated Cyber Command to a unified combatant command last year. And I can't skip this occasion without thanking Admiral Rogers for having the vision and the leadership to drive us to this historic moment. And I'd really like to welcome General Nakasone as he takes the helm of both Cyber Command and NSA, where he's really got the expertise to understand the mission and the focus on the people who will fill the center and do those missions and bring us to a place where we can have that peace, safety, and prosperity through cyberspace. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Patrick M. Shanahan, Deputy Secretary of Defense.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. How are we? Good? Good? I put together some formal remarks, Admiral, because I have to get a few things off my chest. No. So this will be fun, and we've introduced so many wonderful people. I just would like maybe a special call out to the families. It's so wonderful to have you here, and this is a really special time. Thank you all for being here to honor Admiral Rogers' 4-year tenure, transfer command to General Nakasone, and elevate Cybercom to full unified command status, standing up our 10th COCOM, first new addition since AFRICOM began operations in 2007. For more than 1,000 years, militaries have vied for dominance on land and sea. For the last 100 years, we have dominated in the air. Today, we are at the dawn of a new era, facing the reality of war's changing character. The emergence of cyberspace and outer space as contested warfighting domains, equal in importance with land, sea, and air. Cyberspace is not bound by geography. It is not bound by the physical prowess of our adversaries. The next 10 years will look significantly different than the last 10, more than any of us likely can imagine. The Department of Defense will ensure our military is ready to fight and win against any adversary across every domain, dominating the cyber domain at the speed of relevance and maintaining our competitive advantage. Admiral Rogers, over 4 years, you anticipated the demands of the cyber domain before they had been fully articulated. Your efforts informed this year's National Defense Strategy, a roadmap for America's military that takes a clear-eyed look at the world as it is, recognizing cyberspace as a warfighting domain, and our need to innovatively shape, expand, and dominate the competitive space. In a time of renewed great power competition, nations as different as Russia and China seek to leverage cyberspace and build asymmetric advantage over our military. And terrorists use the cyber domain to spread their poisonous ideology of hate. In this environment, there can be no complacency as we field lethal, resilient, and adaptable joint force capable of defending the nation. Admiral Rogers, you have tackled an explosion of threats, an explosion of technology, and explosions in demand and capacity, all with little history or policy precedent to draw upon. You have worked closely with our services to keep our cyber mission force on track to reach its full operational capability. You have grown our defensive capabilities to protect DoD assets and offensive capabilities to take the fight to our adversaries, to include standing up joint force task force areas to challenge ISIS alongside our partners, illustrating our ability to integrate cyber operations in a broader military campaign. You leave a strong foundation behind as your legacy. Today's elevation of Cybercom is an acknowledgement that this new warfighting domain has come of age, as well as a tangible indicator of the Department's investment in our cyber capabilities. Admiral, or Mike, thank you for nearly 37 years of service upholding our Constitution and defending the American people, a gift we cannot repay, a gift we will treasure. Thank you for your dedication to this team, one that lives up to the symbolism of the eagle on the Cybercom and NSA seals. Your expertise and skill pierce the darkness and allow us to remain vigilant. I also want to thank your family, Dana, your wife, your kids, Justin, Patrick. I know John is here, and Dana's parents, Bud and Mary. Dana, Mike gets to come home now. We appreciate your patience and willingness to share him with us. He's all yours.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Mike, please go take care of your lovely bride and wonderful family. We will take care of the team here. Thank you. Hey. All right. There's no going back now, General Nakasone. Here we go. Okay. General Nakasone, today you become the primary guardian of our nation's cyber domain. Admiral Rogers has built capability and integration. Your challenge is to build scale and to strengthen our arsenal of cyber weapons, cyber shields, and cyber warriors. With 31 years of preparation under your belt, including 4 tours here, 1 at Cybercom and 3 at NSA, you bring a wealth of practical experience, as well as the proven ability to generate engagement and teamwork. Thank you for your contributions in defense of this nation and your service, and thank you for taking this assignment. Now, if it's okay, can I take a few minutes and talk to your family? Okay, all right, good. Susan, this is no change of command for you. I know you've been in command all along. Yeah. I appreciate you signing up for this tour of duty and enabling your husband's success, thus protecting our nation. To your wonderful children, Sarah, Daniel, David, and Joseph, I ask you to support your father like he supports you when you're tackling something hard at school. Send your dad notes of encouragement. Give him a call, send him a text, wash his car. Providing him reminders of Team Nakasone will help him keep his batteries charged. And also like to recognize and thank Edwin and Mary, General Nakasone's parents, who've come out from St. Paul, Minnesota. And I asked General Nakasone, I said, well, how old's your dad? And he said, 91. And I said, well, does he still drive? And General Nakasone said, yeah, and he went out and bought a new car this year. But we're so proud of your son. Can you believe that he would grow up to defend the nation and be this fearless warrior? Amazing. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. And to the folks from the Cybercom and NSA communities, you are at the cutting edge of the domain that will define the next century. I'll speak frankly. General Nakasone's success depends on your success. Embrace his leadership. Fuel his passion for the job. Feed his spirit. Together you will create something magical. So in closing, General Nakasone, I'd like to share with you one of the favorite quotes my father shared with me, and one that I've read many, many times in difficult jobs. I consider it the serenity prayer of difficult jobs. And many of you have heard this quote before from Theodore Roosevelt, but I think it's appropriate. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. General Nakasone, I can think of no better man to have in the arena than you. This will not be an easy job, but I look forward to working with you and witnessing all you will accomplish. Godspeed, and God bless America.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Daniel R. Coates, Director of National Intelligence.
Well, thank you very much for the honor to be here and representing the intelligence community on this momentous and important day when we see the stand-up of a Cyber Command and also pay tribute to a leader who has given his career and his life to service for this country. I've had the pleasure and the honor of working with Admiral Rogers as a senator, sitting on the dais, looking down and trying to ask tough questions. He had the answer to every one of them. And then now in my current role, sitting down below, the dais as my former senators asked those tough questions of me. Trust me, it's much better to be up there looking down than down there looking up. I had one thing that saved me because Mike Rogers was sitting next to me. I can't tell you how many times in a tough question related to NSA or a number of cyber issues or technical issues that are pretty complicated, as the question was being asked and then finished, you could probably see me if it was broadcast. Mike, you take this one, will you? I can't tell you how many times I said, Mike, you better take this one. We worked together on a number of issues, none more important than the reauthorization of the legislation that would provide us access to find out what our foreign adversaries and enemies were plotting against us. Virtually all that we got that was significant, some was contributed by a number of agencies, but none more so than NSA. Mike had to sail through some tough waters, and he did it as only a leader can do it. He led this agency back from a difficult situation to an absolutely essential agency doing tremendous work and providing the kind of intelligence that we need in order to keep our people safe. Mike, I can't thank you enough for your leadership, for all you've gone through. You're a tenacious worker. Is that correct, Dana? You're going to have to try to slow him down. I don't know how you're going to have to do that. We weren't able to do it. But anyway, we are so grateful for your leadership. I'm so honored to have served with you. And we wish you just nothing but the best in the future. And do try to slow down a little bit. General Nakasone, congratulations to you. What an honor to be the first person to lead a new command, one that is absolutely essential in terms of how we protect our country. The challenge is large and is growing, as we were talking earlier, expanding at a rapid pace. And so that's going to be very demanding for you and Susan and family. But you have been selected by your peers because they are confident in your ability to take the baton from Admiral Rogers and move into the next generation here of how we deal with cyber. So we wish you well and Godspeed as you move forward into that. The director of OMB wanted me to remind you that even though you are double-hatted and serving two 24/7 jobs, you're only going to get one salary. Sorry. In any event, I think everyone in this room feels honored to be here today to say farewell, goodbye, and well done, faithful servant, to Mike and General, to congratulate you and say we're going to be standing with you all the way through as we move into this next chapter of dealing with cyber issues, serving, leading the NSA, and I just can't tell you how much the country appreciates the former leadership and will appreciate the leadership to come. So welcome, congratulations, Admiral Rogers. Thank you for your dedicated service. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Coates. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Michael S. Rogers, United States Navy, Commander, United States Cyber Command, Director, National Security Agency, and Chief, Central Security Service.
More titles, more titles. Well, please, thank you all very, very much. And let me be up front with you. If I get a little emotional, it's because, quite frankly, I am just freaking overwhelmed with this. I think back first, I want to add my thanks to those who have been previously recognized. I also want to thank those who made this day possible. Not just this ceremony, from the band to the color guard, to the great side boys that you saw, to protocol, and to the men and women that put all this together. But I want to thank those men and women years ago who aren't here today, who had this vision. The idea and the power of thought is something that is incredibly powerful. And this room is a reflection, this building is a reflection of that power. I also want to very publicly thank Dana. As you've heard, I pride myself on driving myself. When your grandfather was a coal miner who went through Ellis Island, came to the United States as an immigrant, when your father never went to college and worked 4 jobs as a kid when you were growing up, you know the power of hard work. And I have embraced that idea from my family. Father, I thank you for that. Dana has had to live with this. But the thing that kept me going was the fact that I knew I always had somebody at home who loved me. I mean, I've been able to give her the time and the attention that she deserved, and many times she'd be asleep and I would just pat her. But Dana, I can't thank you enough. But Dana is representative of the families of this nation that serve, not just those military members and civilians at Cyber Command and NSA, but the families that power them. If you are the family member of somebody who's on Team Cyber Command or Team NSA, or you're the family member of somebody who is serving has served in the Department of Defense, will you please stand for a minute? Come on, there's a lot more of you out there. I just want to say thank you. Now, one of the reasons I'm overwhelmed is I think back to 4 years ago. General Alexander retired 1 week. I was not confirmed in time. Had a great party that weekend with my family that came in, but said, hey, apologize. It doesn't look like it's coming together. The next week, typical on a Monday night, get confirmed, hey, Rogers, you got to turn over. You got to get out of Fleet Cyber, and you got to get over to Cyber Command and NSA. So literally here at Fort Meade, Ops 3, turn over my old responsibilities, grab my briefcase, get in my Honda Civic, drive the quarter mile over to Ops 2B, walk up, and there's the deputy director, and there's the deputy commander at Cyber Command. And the three of us just shake hands, and that's our turnover. Hey, let's strap this on and let's see where we can go. And I look in this room and I see all of you, and I think, wow, have we come a long way in 4 years. To the men and women of Cyber Command, and not just Cyber Command, the components, our teammates, our partners, those who power this cyber enterprise, I want to say thank you for what you've done over the last 4 years. 4 years ago, we were handed a structure and a plan. Our job was to take that structure and that plan, build it out, create a vision, operationalize this idea, and ensure that it was integrated into the broader set of activities executed by the Department of Defense. And while doing this, increase the defensibility of the Department of Defense information networks. Think about how we're going to safeguard its weapons, its systems, its platforms, its data. Think about how we're going to generate more offensive capability designed to give our policymakers and our operational commanders a greater range of options. And with all of that, 18 months ago, we say we're going to take on ISIS as our first real challenge on the offensive side. You think about what we've done there, taking them on in the battlefields of Syria and Iraq, the things we've done that we're not going to get into in the information arena. I know what you've done. The leadership of this nation knows what you have done. The leadership of this department knows what you have done. It is a reflection of this organization, the Department of Defense, and this government's belief in you that we will elevate Cyber Command to a combatant commander as General Nakasone assumes his role. That is a testament to you and everything that you have done. And I and the nation thank you for that. General Nakasone will be an inspired leader for you. He will take this even further. Because I agree with the DepSecDef. We got a great vision, I think. We got a great way forward. Now it's about how do we generate capacity on a global scale. And that will bring its own set of challenges. But I know that you are up to that challenge. To the men and women of the National Security Agency and the service cryptologic elements and the broader global SIGINT enterprise, thank you for what you do for this nation. We have had a challenging time in the past 4 years. I can remember one time sitting there talking to the leadership team at NSA as we were thinking to ourselves, so how are we going to deal with some of this? And I'm as my family knows, I love movies and I love music. And one of the things that struck me was Apollo 13. When people are saying, oh, this is terrible. We're going to lose the crew. We're going to lose the mission. And the then mission commander turns to the group and says, this will not be our worst day. This will be our best day because we will not define ourselves by adversity, but we will define ourselves how a group of motivated men and women come together to make a difference for this nation, our friends, and our allies. And you have done that in spades. This nation entrusts us with an amazing set of capabilities. We are given access to data of incredible sensitivity. We must continue to safeguard that, ensure the appropriate security, and to remember the trust the nation places in us. We execute our critical mission of foreign intelligence and cybersecurity at NSA within a legal framework and a set of policies that we follow to the letter. That is our strength. That is what generates the confidence of this nation that these many resources that are granted to us are being used appropriately, wisely, and in the best interests of the citizens we serve. And I am proud as I look back, as I think to myself today, I am both happy and proud. Happy because I feel, hey, I have pushed myself, and the two organizations, the two teams that I have been a part of are in a better place today than we were when we started. And I look forward to the day, years from now, General Nakasone will be standing here in front of an audience, and he too will say, I feel proud because the two organizations I leave are in a better place now than when I got there. And I look forward to seeing where that run, where that challenge is going to take all of you. I thank you for who you are and what you do, and I look forward to watching that journey. You have a great leader coming today. Serve him well, and remember what it is that we do. We serve the citizens of this nation and our friends and allies around the world. And we never, never violate that trust. And we always remember what we are about. And that doesn't matter if you're a part of Cyber Command or you're part of NSA. Lastly, let me also specifically thank Chairman Joe Dunford and Ellen for being here with us today. You know, when you serve at this level, my teammates in the Joint Chiefs of Staff, combatant commanders, you get to see a side of this sometimes where you see this from the inside and you realize, wow, how hard is this? These men and women who are willing to take on these amazing responsibilities and to just do it tirelessly. And Joe and I, in many instances, I can remember calling, talking to him, some things that hopefully, you know, if neither of us writes the book, will ever become public. But on the other hand, I was always blessed, no matter how tough things got, no matter how, quite frankly, inaccurate some of the stuff I'm reading and seeing, I always knew that I had a chairman who had my back, who I loved talking to, because he always was honest and straight. Joe, I just want to say thanks so much for who you are and what you do every day for this nation. With that, I am often asked, so Rogers, what are you going to do? And let me tell you, priority number one, I have got to get some sleep. As I'm laying in bed last night, literally Dana says to me, hey, so what do you think? You got less than 24 hours of responsibility left. And I said, man, we're going to run through the tape. Little did I know, 2 hours later, the phone calls. I reach out, look at it, unlisted number, and I'm going, okay, no, this is work. Talk to work. Hey, sir, we need to talk. Okay, no sweat. I'll get my clothes. I'll be down in the vault. I'll be up. So I'm thinking to myself, boy, these jobs just don't want to let go. And I'm still reminded, as the team reminded me earlier this morning, hey, remember, you still have one more congressional testimony, sir, before you leave. But it'll soon be over. But thank you all very, very much for who you are and what you do. And the one thing that unites everybody finally in this room, whether you're a U.S., you're part of the coalition team, we all have dedicated ourselves, uniformed civilian, active reserve, officer enlisted, it doesn't matter. Every one of us in this room has dedicated ourselves to the idea that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. And that is an amazing thing. Don't ever take that for granted, okay? And with that, I thank you all very, very much. Godspeed to all of you.
Thank you, Admiral Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Deputy Secretary Shanahan and General Nakasone now join Admiral Rogers at center stage for the United States Cyber Command change of command and elevation. Attention to orders. By direction of the President, Admiral Michael S. Rogers, United States Navy, will relinquish command of United States Cyber Command effective 4 May 2018. General Paul M. Nakasone, United States Army, is directed to assume command of United States Cyber Command effective 4 May 2018. The custodian of the flag is Master Gunnery Sergeant Scott H. Stalker, United States Marine Corps, the command senior enlisted leader. At this time, Master Gunnery Sergeant Stalker passes the flag to the outgoing commander for the last time. The outgoing commander then relinquishes his command by passing the flag to the presiding officer. The presiding officer then passes the flag, and with it, the responsibility of command to the incoming commander. Today, the passing of this flag has additional special significance. This passing of the flag marks the elevation of United States Cyber Command from a subordinate unified command to a combatant command. Attention to orders. By direction of the President, with the assumption of command, the United States Cyber Command is hereby elevated from a subordinate unified command to a combatant command effective 4 May 2018. The process is complete when the new commander returns the flag to the command senior enlisted leader as the custodian of the flag. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Secretary. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as Director Coates now joins Admiral Rogers and General Nakasone at center stage for the National Security Agency Central Security Service change of directorship. Attention to orders. By direction of the President, Admiral Michael S. Rogers, United States Navy, will relinquish directorship of the National Security Agency Central Security Service effective 4 May 2018. General Paul M. Nakasone, United States Army, is directed to assume directorship of the National Security Agency Central Security Service effective 4 May 2018. Once again, the custodian of the flag is Master Gunnery Sergeant Scott H. Stalker, United States Marine Corps, the agency's senior enlisted leader. At this time, Master Gunnery Sergeant Stalker passes the flag to the outgoing director for the last time. The outgoing director then relinquishes his responsibility by passing the flag to the presiding officer. The presiding officer then passes the flag and hence responsibility to the incoming director. The time-honored process is complete when the new director returns the flag to the agency's senior enlisted leader as the custodian of the flag. Thank you, Director Coates and Admiral Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I present the Commander, United States Cyber Command, Director, National Security Agency, and Chief, Central Security Service, General Paul M. Nakasone, United States Army.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. On behalf of the men and women of U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency, welcome. We are honored and pleased that you would spend this afternoon with us on this very special day. Now, I must publicly admit that I am from a service with a long and well-worn traditions. Perhaps none more significant that the new guy, at a change of command ceremony, should keep his remarks very short and ensure on an early start to the reception. Although some of you may think that I'm going to buck this tradition, I assure you I'm not. More importantly, I was counseled by several who wish to remain anonymous that offered this advice. Keep it short, Dad. So for the many distinguished guests, thank you very much. To Secretary Mattis, who couldn't be here today, to Director Coates, obviously Secretary Shanahan, General Dunford, thank you so much for the trust and confidence you've placed in me to lead these two organizations. I look forward to this tremendous opportunity. To Admiral Mike Rogers, outgoing Commander and Director, a tremendous leader to both organizations, former boss, congratulations to both you and Dana, to your family on a tremendous career. We are just thoroughly pleased to have had the association with you and really pleased as you start your next life together. Thank you so much for service for our country. To my family and friends from Hawaii to Minnesota to Maryland to Virginia and places in between, thank you for joining us today. To Susan, Sarah, Daniel, David, and Joseph, thank you for all that you've made this day possible. Thank you so very, very much. And finally, to those behind the scenes, Pershing's own, to the people that helped me with my confirmation preparation, my tireless front office, and the great Cybercom and NSA protocol teams who worked incredibly long hours. Thank you so much for your on-again, off-again approach to this ceremony, your approach to what was last Friday, what became this Friday. My sincerest thanks for a job well done. So, ladies and gentlemen, why today marks a day of change, it's also a day of new beginnings, of renewed partnerships, and of our enduring commitment to the defense of our nation. First, this is a new beginning. Today we start writing the opening chapter for U.S. Cyber Command as our nation's newest unified combatant command. From defensive operations protecting our networks to offensive operations against ISIS and other adversaries, Cybercom has matured rapidly. Our team now has both the challenge and, more importantly, the opportunity to build a combatant command from the ground up. The elevation today marks a proud day for Cybercom and the nation. And I am fortunate to be here to lead you into this next chapter of our great history. New beginnings are also evident in this building we find ourselves this afternoon. The newly constructed Integrated Cyber Center has been designed as a nerve center for critical national security cyberspace missions, tying together two powerful national organizations, the National Security Agency and U.S. Cyber Command. These connected buildings provide real-time coordination symbolic of the partnership between two great organizations who track our adversaries, provide warning, and if called upon, defend the nation. Today is also about renewed partnerships. For the talented men and women of the National Security Agency, this is a new day for us as well. Along with Cyber Command, we face similar challenges of adaptive adversaries and dynamic technologies that demand all we have and more. NSA will continue our unfailing role as a vital combat support agency to our nation's military forces. We'll also continue to be the elite foreign signals intelligence producer across the globe. Coupled with our closest partners and allies, we are an irreplaceable cornerstone of our intelligence community. And we'll continue to evolve together. NSA's greatest strength has always been its people. Our people bring innovation and adaptiveness. NSA's agility and ability to solve the unsolvable challenges are more critical than ever, and perhaps our mission has never been more demanding. But we are up to this task, much as this agency has always been up to the task. I'm equally proud to be leading you in this new chapter of our history. Finally, we are all here today because of a shared commitment to the defense of our nation. We are at a unique point in our history. We're in cyberspace. We are confronted with both rapidly changing technology and adversaries that would seek to threaten this country in new and unprecedented ways. Earlier this year, the Department of Defense published our National Defense Strategy. To both the agency and the command, what our department expects of us and what we will deliver is a commitment to defend our nation wherever and whenever it needs us. A ready and formidable cyber force with global and dominant capabilities. Unrivaled intelligence support to national leaders, government partners, and military commanders. To forge ahead with new partnerships. And the efficient use of our resources that Congress has entrusted us with to outfit our force. So standing in front of the men and women of NSA and Cybercom today, I think about how well poised we are to step into the demands this strategy lays out for us. In this moment, we must look beyond our past accomplishments, we must deliver results, and we must continue the trailblazing path of this great workforce that has earned admiration across the country and around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, for U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency, today is just the start of our new beginnings, of our renewed partnerships, and our enduring commitment to the defense of our nation. It's a demanding but exciting journey we'll be on together. We wouldn't want it any other way. Thanks. Thanks for attending today.
Thank you, General Nakasone. The United States Army Field Band will now play a special march written by one of their musicians, Staff Sergeant J.G. Miller, United States Army. He wrote it during the early days of United States Cyber Command. The march follows some of the traditions of John Philip Sousa and then digresses from tradition, symbolizing the changing environment of today's complex battlefields. The most meaningful aspects of the piece are two short and coded messages of support woven into the fabric of the piece itself. Messages intended to provide a musical honor to the thousands of men and women who work tirelessly to keep our freedom safe in the ever-changing battlefield of cyberspace. Men and women whose work is often unrecognized by those they protect. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for a medley of service songs and the departure of the official party. Bosun, post the side boys.
Aye, sir. Over. Up. Left. 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 Left, 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 detail, halt, left or right, base, halt.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in place for the departure of the official party. Defense, departing. National Intelligence, departing. United States Cyber Command, National Security Agency, Central Security Service, departing. Admiral, United States Navy, departing. Bosun, dismiss the side boys.
Aye, aye, sir. Side boys, one pace to the rear, march. Left or right, face. Forward, march.
Forward, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. On behalf of Admiral and Mrs. Rogers and General and Mrs. Nakasone, thank you for attending today's ceremony. Please join us for a reception hosted by General and Mrs. Nakasone.
Good afternoon.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Integrated Cyber Center. Admiral Rogers, Mr. Barnes, Lieutenant General Stewart, distinguished guests, family members, and friends, welcome today. We're honored today to have the opportunity to open the new Integrated Cyber Center that soon many of you are going to see. This has been a partnership, a very close partnership with a lot of folks. And I won't take much of Admiral Rogers' thunder, but U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Baltimore District, Colonel Ed Chamberlain, who's the commander, Dara Van Loo, who is our program manager out here, Ron Tallarico, and all of our military construction team that's working out here with Hensel Phelps, who built this half of the building, Walsh Federal Construction, who built the other half of the building, AECOM, who designed the building. This is a unique project. We built this as two separate buildings. We started the one to my left first and finished the one to my right. And I usually tell a lot of facts about the building. I won't tell that much, but some tidbits. You're standing under a veil. As you go outside, if you look, you'll see some exposed beams. That represents unveiling the Cyber Command and the NSA Integrated Cyber Center. You see behind me is going to be the Joint Operations Center, or the watch floor. All the lines on the floors emanate out from that and carry into the courtyard, because that's the center of operations. Shielded symbolically in copper, because in previous days, that's how we protected our buildings from emanations from computers and communications that would go out for the building. The buildings you see on our older campus are shielded in copper. This one's not. I can't tell you what it's shielded in, but that's okay. You don't need to know that. But you need. So, and the other thing I'd like you to see when you go inside is the ceiling of the watch floor. It is symbolic of heartbeats emanating out from the center of the watch floor. So this is the building where it's going to play a big role in operations for the future. So at this time, I'd like to introduce someone who's been a key vision for not just this building, but the entire campus. He's spent as much time out here on the campus with me as I have. We've spent a lot of time walking up and down the campus and looking at the buildings, looking at the construction, and Admiral Rogers has always been the vision behind this. So I have a picture, I'm going to tell that story anyway. I have a picture hanging on my wall of me and Admiral Rogers on the 4th floor of this building overlooking the campus, and everyone thought we were talking about where we were going to put buildings. Actually, it was the day after Auburn beat Georgia, or 2 days after that, when Georgia was #1, but they beat them. And so we were talking about the Auburn-Georgia game, and then all of a sudden, Chief of Staff General Fogarty walked up, and we kind of saw him out of the corner of our eye. Admiral Rogers said, "No, we'll put it over there." Yeah, that's good. So, without further ado, Admiral Michael Rogers, Commander of Cyber Command and Director of NSA.
Thanks. Well, today is a great day because it reflects the completion of a vision that literally started years ago. And that many of us who do this work today as members of the United States Cyber Command and the National Security Agency try to carry on the legacy of the men and women who came before us. And their legacy is reflected in this building. So as you walked up, you saw that what this area we call the East Campus is the future, where you're going to see us representing multiple structures, multiple capabilities. Right across the street is a brand new building that will be opening up within the next 60 days, where Marine Forces Cyber will be operating from. There is only growth out here. There is growth out here for a reason, because our nation believes in the importance of cyber and intelligence, and it is willing to commit our citizens' hard-earned resources to do it. And at Cyber Command and NSA, we don't take that lightly. We serve the nation and its citizens, and we are grateful for their willingness to give us this kind of capacity. In many ways, this building represents the future to me. You've got a section that is NSA, you've got a middle here at the Ops Center, you'll see this a little later, fully integrated, and the interagency, a strong component of all of this, as well as a broader set of partners than just both Cyber Command and NSA, and on the far side, a section devoted purely to Cyber Command. It's this ability to integrate, hence the Integrated Cyber Center, to generate outcomes for our nation. That is the vision behind this building. And I am so proud of the men and women that did all this work, because it has really been a great ride. So without any further ado, Vince, I think you are up. Nope, we're going to do the cutting. Come on, teammates, let's get over it. Come on. Now we're going to do the heavily choreographed cutting. We got everybody in here? We tighten up for the picture?
Tighten it up.
Tighten it up. Tighten it up.
Remember, first one's pose.
Oh.
Right?
Okay, so we're just going to pose. Everybody put a scissors in position like you're going to cut, but do not cut. Do not cut. Heads up.
You're going to take 2 pictures? 1, 2. Right, sir.
Okay, we're ready for the real thing? We're going to count down. 3, 2, 1. All right. You didn't have to do that. All right, General Stewart, I think you're up.
I'm the only one standing between you and getting in to see the great building. This facility is a landmark accomplishment and supports the future of integrated cyberspace operations. It is more than the building. The ICC represents the spirit of support to people who advance our vital mission in support of our nation. The ICC represents both an opportunity and a responsibility to continually foster integration, collaboration, and innovation required to meet dynamic mission needs now and into the future. In addition to our thanks for the men and women who have worked to make this ribbon cutting a reality, we thank Admiral Mike Rogers for his leadership in getting us here and orienting us onto the future. We are ready to unleash our cyber mission forces. We eagerly accept the responsibility of continuing our critical partnerships to meet the challenges of the future. Welcome to the Cybercom NSA Integrated Cyber Center. Thank you.